My best friend looked at my girlfriend, then said, "So you never told him, huh?" She went pale. I just looked at her. 3 hours later, they were blocked, and the moving truck was at my door. You ever witness a moment so weird, so quiet, so off, that your body knows something's wrong before your brain catches up? That was me, standing in my living room, holding a beer, while my girlfriend and my best friend stared at each other like one of them had just said the unspeakable. He had, and she hadn't answered. Let me take you back. I'm Jason. I'm 29, work in IT, pretty normal life overall. I've got a decent apartment, 2 cats, and until recently, what I thought was a stable, loving relationship. My girlfriend Alina, she's 27, moved in with me a little over a year ago. We've been dating for almost 2. She was the first serious relationship I'd had since college. Smart, artistic, sarcastic in a way that actually made me laugh, not cringe. We met at a bookstore of all places, both reaching for the same copy of Slaughterhouse-Five. Real cliché, but it stuck. We hit it off immediately. Now my best friend? That's Nate. We've known each other since junior year. We were both broke, taking turns driving to class, splitting ramen and gas money. I trusted him, probably more than most people in my life. He was at my side through every job interview, breakup, move, and drunken mistake. He was also one of the first people I introduced Alina to when we got serious. They got along great. Too great, maybe. But I didn't think like that back then. I liked that they liked each other. It made my life easier. No drama, no jealousy. So let's fast forward to this night. It was a Saturday, just a chill evening. Nate came over for game night, something we've been doing monthly. Cards, drinks, dumb dares. Harmless fun. We were halfway through a game of do or drink. Alina pulled a card that asked her, "Confess a secret you've never told anyone in this room, or take 3 shots." She laughed, said, "No way I'm doing 3 shots, I've work tomorrow." Then Nate leaned back in his chair, smirked, and said it. "So you never told him, huh?" Alina went still. Her hand didn't move. Her eyes locked onto Nate like he'd just ripped open a buried grave. And me? I looked between them, waiting for the punchline. Maybe it was an inside joke I didn't get. It wasn't. "What's that supposed to mean?" I asked, trying to keep my voice light, even though my stomach had already dropped. Silence. Alina laughed, but it was high-pitched, nervous. "Ignore him. He's drunk." Nate just raised his eyebrows and said nothing else. Didn't even apologize or laugh it off. The rest of the night was weird. Alina bailed early, claiming a headache. Nate left a few minutes later, giving me this half pat on the shoulder like he was sorry but couldn't say why. And I was just standing there in my own apartment, suddenly aware that I was the only person in the room who didn't know something. At first, I didn't overreact. We've all got pasts. Maybe they hooked up once. Maybe he assumed I knew. Maybe it was nothing. But there's a difference between nothing and a secret. And I could tell, by the look on her face, that this wasn't nothing. That night, I lay in bed next to Alina, watching her sleep. Or pretend to. Her back was to me. She didn't reach for me like usual. And I didn't touch her. I just stared at the ceiling, my mind racing through everything I thought I knew about the two of them. Every memory suddenly looked different. Every laugh between them, every glance, every inside joke. I kept thinking about the way she froze. Not confused. Not annoyed. Busted. I didn't ask her about it. Not yet. I wanted to be sure. If I brought it up and she lied again, I needed proof. So instead, I waited. The next morning, I got up early and started scrolling. Photos. Messages. Tag histories. Group chats. Anything. If there was something between them before me, I could deal with that. But if it happened after? If it continued? I needed to know what kind of fool I really was. There's a particular kind of gut punch you feel when you realize someone's been lying to you. Not in a dramatic, soap opera way, but in the small, methodical way that takes months to notice. That's what I was waking up to. The morning after that weird game night, Alina acted like nothing happened. She made coffee, asked if I wanted to go out for brunch, even kissed me on the cheek like we were still fine. Like I hadn't watched her turn ghost white after Nate asked that one simple question. "So you never told him, huh?" And that's when I knew I was on my own. If there was going to be truth in this house, I'd have to dig it up myself. I started where most people would, her old Instagram posts. Now, let me say this. I wasn't trying to snoop through my girlfriend's life. But something had broken. I couldn't trust what she told me, so I started trusting what was already recorded. And that's when I remembered the beach trip. 3 years ago, she brought it up once in passing, said she went with some old college friends before we met. I remember teasing her about the neon pink bathing suit in one of the photos. But I also remembered something else. Nate once mentioned that same exact beach trip. Said it was a messy weekend, but didn't give details. I brushed it off at the time. Now I wasn't brushing off anything. I scrolled back through her feed. July 22nd. The group selfie on the pier. For people. Alina, Two girls I didn't recognize, and a guy with sunglasses and his face turned mostly away from the camera. The caption? Last-minute trips are always the best. But I noticed something strange. All the photos, every single one, were only from that one day. No nighttime pics. No morning after breakfast. Just the same outfits, same lighting, slightly different angles. Weird, right? Then I checked Nate's Facebook. He barely posts, but his check-ins are still public. July 21st. Checked in at Seabreeze Motel. Same weekend. Same beach town. That's when my heart rate picked up. I searched Seabreeze Motel and zoomed in on the building behind Alina in one of the shots. The same railings. Same trim. Same logo on a poolside towel in the background. I knew the answer already, but I still asked. That evening, while we were watching some forgettable Netflix show, I muted the TV and casually said, "Hey, didn't you say you went to Myrtle Beach with some college girls a few years ago?" Alina blinked. "Yeah." "Was Nate there?" She hesitated, just for a split second. Most people would miss it, but I caught it. Then she shook her head and laughed. "No, that was before you two even met, right?" "Nope," I said, turning the TV off. "He said he went to the Seabreeze Motel that weekend." Now she looked uncomfortable. "Oh, well, maybe he was there. I don't remember seeing him." I stared at her. She stared back. That was the whole conversation. She went back to pretending to scroll on her phone. I sat there, pulse hammering. She wasn't even trying to cover it anymore. So I did what any man with an uneasy gut and decent Wi-Fi would do. I looked through her old Google Photos backup on the shared drive we used to dump vacation pics. Took a while to get in. She'd renamed the folder 2019 Randoms. One video. 30 seconds. She must have forgotten it was even there. The camera pans across a small hotel room. 2 glasses of wine on the nightstand. One bed, slightly unmade. Then Alina's voice, "Say hi, mystery man." And then Nate's voice, clear as day, "Babe, come on, don't film me when I'm in boxers." That was it. The clip ends. But everything else, that was just beginning. I didn't confront her. Not yet. If this had been just a fling before me, why lie now? Why hide it? Why did Nate think I knew? And why did she look terrified the moment he brought it up? Something else was under the surface. Something recent. Something she thought I'd never dig up. But I had time. And now? I had motive. I didn't sleep that night. Not a second. The voice in that video, Nate's voice, played on repeat in my head like some sick loop. Not because it was vulgar or graphic. It wasn't. It was casual. Comfortable. Like they'd done this before. Like that version of her, relaxed, flirty, tipsy, was someone I'd never even met. And maybe I hadn't. By sunrise, I wasn't even angry yet. That's what scared me most. I wasn't throwing things. I wasn't yelling. I was calculating. Laying in the dark, wide awake, replaying every moment in the last 2 years like a movie I'd only just realized had a twist ending. You know what came back first? A dinner 6 months ago. We were out with Nate. Alina had ordered something too spicy. Nate reached over with his fork and traded her plate with his. They didn't speak. They didn't even look at each other. It just happened. Like muscle memory. I'd smiled back then. Thought, wow, they're so in sync. That's awesome. Now, I was just counting how many other things they'd done on autopilot. By noon, I texted Nate. "Yo, free later? Need to talk. Just us." He replied almost immediately. "Yeah, everything okay?" "Not really. We met at a quiet cafe a few blocks from my place. Not our usual spot. I didn't want memories tied to whatever was about to happen." He showed up looking nervous, but not guilty. He sat down. No small talk. Just gave me that, "What's going on?" nod. I pulled out my phone. Pressed play on the video. Nate leaned back slowly as he listened. When it ended, he didn't even blink. "You found that old thing?" he said, almost like it was a dumb TikTok I'd resurfaced. "Yeah," I said. "Found a lot of old things lately." He took a sip of his coffee. "So, what do you want to know?" "I want to know why you acted like I already knew." He set his cup down. Exhaled. "Because I thought you did, man. I thought she told you. When you guys started dating. Or, at least after she moved in." "She didn't." "Damn." He rubbed his jaw. I really thought, okay. That pause. That's where most people lie. But Nate didn't. And somehow, that made it worse. "So," I said, "you and Alina, what was it?" He stared at the window for a second. Then back at me. "We hooked up a few times. Nothing serious. She told me you were her safe choice. Said I was unstable. Which, fair. I was in a weird place back then. But it stung. She said that. Word for word. Jason's stable. Predictable. Good for now." I didn't flinch. Didn't move. Just filed it away. "And then what?" "You guys stopped seeing each other. And what?" "Pretended nothing happened. She said it would be weird if you found out. Told me to act like we barely knew each other before." I stared at him. "And that didn't feel weird to you?" Nate actually laughed. "Of course it did. But I figured it was her call. I didn't want to mess up your relationship." Now I was the one laughing. "Just once. Dry? You didn't want to mess it up? You were already in it. I know. Look, man, I never touched her after you two got serious. Swear on that. But yeah, I should have told you. Both of us should have. So why the hell say it during game night? Why now? He hesitated. I thought she'd told you by now. And honestly, I was drunk. It slipped. I didn't mean to stir anything up. But you did. He didn't deny it. I'm sorry, Jason, he said. And I think he meant it. But you know what I realized, sitting there across from him? It didn't matter whether he meant it or not. This wasn't about a one-time hookup. This was about how they both saw me. What I was to them. A placeholder. A soft landing. A guy you settle for. I left that cafe without saying another word. But in my mind, a plan had already started forming. And it started with a storage unit. A U-Haul. And a folder titled Read This. She still had no idea I knew. That was the strangest part. Alina was moving through our shared life like nothing had changed. Cooking dinner, complaining about her boss, asking if I'd seen her scarf. Every time she kissed me on the cheek or laughed at a show we used to binge together, it felt like I was watching someone act in a role they didn't know was already canceled. I kept thinking, how many people walk around every day, pretending their partner isn't lying to them? It was a Thursday night when I finally stumbled on what broke it all open. We were supposed to go out that weekend. Her idea. A cabin rental with some of her friends. She was packing in the other room, asking if I'd seen her hiking boots. Nope, I called out. Check under the bed. She did. But I wasn't in the bedroom. I was in the hall closet, looking for an extra charger, of all things, when I found it. A navy blue notebook, stuffed behind a basket of old scarves and tangled headphones. No lock. No password. Just her initials in cursive on the inside cover. A.S. I should have put it back. I didn't. I wasn't expecting much. Maybe sketches, poems, a mood tracker. Something personal, sure, but harmless. It was personal, all right, but not harmless. The first few pages were random thoughts. Grocery lists. A sketch of a bird. Then I hit a line dated just over a year ago. He's too good. Too kind. I don't know why I can't love him the way he deserves. Maybe I just don't feel excited. Maybe that's my fault. I stopped breathing for a second. Turned the page. Sometimes I think about Nate. What we had was chaotic, but real. Jason is safe. Maybe that's better long term. But what if I wake up one day and regret it? Another entry. Jason bought me flowers today. I smiled. I said thank you. But I didn't feel anything. What's wrong with me? I sat down on the floor. The pages went on. Line after line that shredded whatever was left of the version of her I thought I knew. Not once did she say she loved me. Not in the journal. Not in the way that counts. She wrote about feeling trapped in comfort. Like I was some kind of soft prison. A backup plan with a clean apartment and stable income. And then this one. If Jason ever finds out about Nate, it'll ruin everything. I just have to keep it clean. Polite. Predictable. I took a picture of that page. Then I kept reading. Last month, she wrote about how I was getting boring. How she wanted to feel chosen again. How I never argued with her, and that made her feel invisible. It was surreal. Like reading a breakup letter sent to someone else that got misdelivered to my hands. I closed the journal. Sat there on the floor of the hallway, holding this little book like it was radioactive. She had no idea I'd read any of it. And I didn't plan on telling her. Instead, I made a to-do list. Call storage unit. Reserve locker. Book a moving truck for Sunday morning. Print the journal entries, just a few. The ones that mattered. Change the locks. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I didn't even feel betrayed anymore. What I felt was clarity. She didn't cheat on me last week. Or last month. She cheated the moment she chose comfort over honesty. She made me the safe choice. The emotional airbag. And now? Now I was going to show her what a predictable man looks like when he's done being used. She'd walk out that front door thinking I was still hers. She'd walk back in to find out she never had me at all. She thought we were going on a trip that weekend. The cabin was booked. Her bag was packed. She'd even bought a new beanie, one of those ridiculous oversized ones she always lost by day 2. That Friday, she kissed me goodbye on her way to work and said, "Don't forget to pack your chargers. You always forget." I smiled. "I won't." She left. The door clicked shut behind her. And that was the last time she walked out of my apartment like it was still hers. By noon, I had everything in motion. The moving truck arrived at 2:15 p.m., right on time. I'd already boxed up all her stuff. I'd gone room by room over the last 3 days while she was out, folding her clothes neatly, taping up her books, wrapping her stupid ceramic owl collection in bubble wrap. It wasn't spite. It was logistics. She had no idea what was coming, because she never thought I'd be the one to walk away. The guy who brings soup when she's sick. The guy who drives her to the airport at 5 a.m. The guy who remembers her mom's birthday when she forgets her own. She thought that kind of man stays. No matter what. She was wrong. I stacked the boxes by the front door. Labeled them all. I even grouped them. Clothes, bathroom stuff, books and art supplies, and one small box, set aside on the coffee table, marked in black Sharpie, for Nate. Inside were 6 printed pages, a few lines from her journal, the video still frame of them at the motel, a screenshot of a text she once sent Nate, buried in the cloud archive. Jason's a sweet guy, but it's not love. It's just safe. That's enough for now, right? The final page was blank, except for one sentence at the bottom. You could have just told me. I changed the locks at 5 p.m. She texted at 5:32. On my way back. Got snacks for the road, lol. Can't wait to disappear into the woods with you this weekend, Blackheart. At 6:04, she was at the door. I didn't answer. She knocked once. Then again. Jason. Silence. I heard her try the handle. Rattle the knob. Then, why is the door locked? I waited 5 seconds before replying through the door. Check the boxes. She was quiet for a long time. I imagined her taking it in. Her shoes, her books, her coats all neatly packed and labeled like lost inventory. Then her voice again. What is this? Jason, what's going on? She still didn't get it. I slid the final box out into the hallway. The one marked for Nate. She looked down. I heard the cardboard slide on the wood. Then a pause. A long pause. Jason, please. Can we talk? Just open the door, okay? Please. I didn't answer. Her voice broke a little. This isn't what you think. I never meant to hurt you. Still nothing from me. Then something I didn't expect. A whisper. You were supposed to be safe. That word again. She didn't know I'd read it in her handwriting already. I never thought you'd just throw me away. Throw her away? I boxed up her things. Gave her closure. Gave her silence. And she called that being thrown away? She knocked one last time. Then she said, "You're going to regret this." And I finally replied, "No, but you might." I slid the storage key under the door. Then I turned on music, loud enough to cover her footsteps as she walked down the hall. Loud enough to drown out the sound of her crying in the elevator. The playlist? Jazz. She hated jazz. She didn't call. Not at first. I expected a string of voicemails, late-night texts, maybe even her showing up at my office. But instead, I got silence, which almost unnerved me more. It wasn't until 4 days later that her number popped up on my phone again. But it wasn't the same number. New line. New area code. The message came through around 11:38 p.m., like she couldn't bring herself to send it until the world was asleep. It was a wall of text. I didn't open it right away. I stared at it for a full hour, letting it sit there in my notifications. I made a cup of tea, fed the cats, sat on the couch and reread the last journal entry I'd taken a photo of, just to remind myself who I was dealing with. Then I opened the message. I guess you're not going to reply. I don't blame you. I just needed to say something. Not because I want you to take me back. I know that's not happening. But because I owe you more than silence. She went on. I panicked. That night, when Nate said what he did, I realized I was still lying. Not just to you. To myself, too. I did care about you, Jason. I do. I loved the way you made things feel safe, like nothing could go wrong. But I never stopped feeling guilty for the way we started. I should have told you about Nate before we got serious. I didn't think it mattered. But it did. I know you saw the journal. And yeah, I know you saw the part where I said you were predictable. I didn't mean it as an insult. I meant it as a confession. Like I didn't feel like I deserved someone like you. Someone decent. Someone who never played games. I wish I could go back and be honest sooner. I wish I had treated you like the partner you were. But I didn't. And you saw through it. Then the final line. You were right to leave. But just so you know, I was starting to love you. I locked my phone. Didn't reply. Didn't even draft something just to delete it. There wasn't anything left to say. She wasn't a monster. She didn't cheat on me in some cartoonish way. She didn't steal money or run off with my brother or torch my car. But what she did do was worse, in a quieter way. She made me believe I was building something solid, while she stood on a different foundation altogether. 1 foot in, 1 foot out. A backup plan with a smile. That's the kind of betrayal that doesn't scream. It whispers. And when you finally hear it, it's too late. I started going back to the cafe Nate and I used to frequent. Alone now. The barista there asked me where my friend was. I said gone. Like a bad idea. She laughed. We got to talking. Her name's Emily. She's kind. She listens. And most importantly, she doesn't know my past. Yet. But if she ever asks, I'll tell her this. I once gave someone the benefit of the doubt. Ignored the red flags. Let a good smile and old memories convince me that love was enough. But now I know, honesty is louder than chemistry. And quiet disrespect is still disrespect. That's the real ending here. Not revenge. Not some dramatic plot twist. Just a man who saw the truth, packed the boxes, and finally chose himself. And that's the story. If you're still here, that means you're one of us. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button. I drop new chaos every single day, and trust me, tomorrow's story, it's even worse than this one.